Hey everybody, this is DemonSword. The Ryan sword just came in. We have the two swords, Higo and the Ryan 385, I believe, was it? Now these are the sheaths of both the Ryan and the Higo together. As you can see, the wrapping style is very similar. That's actually a good plus on that concept. But the buffalo horn on the Higo is actually a lot higher up. It has a much more thicker wrapping method. This is actually extremely tight tolerance wise, but it'll probably loosen up after a few practice runs. Here's the Higo and our Ryan blade. Yes, the blade is completely black. It's very bizarre. I've seen some Damascus blades that are very apparently fake. But I will give Ryan sword this. This looks to be pretty authentic style Damascus. Let's get in close here. Now as you can see, we've got the Higo, and you can actually see where I found the sand mine metal method. So at the top of this ridge you'll note there's a line right here. This half to this point is the first outer metal wrap like this, and then there's an inner metal wrap. That's this line. And then the edge is actually the spring steel. So there are three metals technically used in the sand mine, but these two are the same type of metal. But the way they've laminated it shows the difference. I would judge them about 1045, at most 1065, because it would make that part probably pretty flexible. Let's go over to the Ryan sword. This is actually a very complex system for just a basic thing. I like it looks kind of cool. That's why I said I bought this blade, because it looks interesting. Let's see if I can do this. The Damascus is what I would call very minuscule. It's very hard to see on this black metal, and if I can get it on the film, you guys can see it cool. There's a good edge right there. Trying to get my finger in so I can point. If you can see this faint black line, that's the hard metal. And then there's this shinier edge you see all over the place. They're basically thin veins of this harder metal in it, and it's layered with soft metal. Thus, traditional Damascus is supposed to do that. The problem with it is the method is not quality assured. I don't know how else to say this, but Damascus, when you mix hard metal and soft metal, you get 1 in 4 chance. You're either going to get a really good blade that's flexible and strong, or a really fragile blade that's not very flexible. And then you've got, flexible but fragile, or not a very dense blade that's not flexible. But that can happen in even the normal method, even if you weren't doing a sand mine like a Maru. So this is a folded steel. I've already done some practice swings with it. You saw the box it came in. It's basically styrofoam. These blades are priced about the same. Higo here is $199. The Ryan is $189 total for both blades. That includes shipping. So what's the difference between Ryan and Cheness? Let's take a look. The wrapping on the Cheness is of more of a softer material. If I had to classify it, I would say something kind of like cotton. Whereas if you feel this on the Ryan blade, this feels like something I would find on, well, I hate to say it, a cosplay katana. But I will say the wrapping method on this is correct. It's tight. Both blades' wrappings are pretty much identical. They're both very tight. I would say the Cheness has a little wider gap points on these nodes right here, center points. Cheness Higo actually sticks out just a little more, which can give you a little more deeper grip. This one's more flat, streamlined. What do you get versus it? For $10 more versus the Higo, you get laminated material versus Damascus. Both pegs on the Ryan are bamboo. One peg on the Cheness is bamboo and the other is brass, which is the traditional method of doing it. More accepted. Let's look at the fittings. The fittings on this are, I would say, copper brass mixture. Both actually are using copper sepia, which is something I didn't see very often. Now I have two swords with it. It's very weird. The fittings on the Cheness, by the way, are steel iron mixture. Iron for the little lower parts here, and the Suba is actually steel. Sorry, I have like a list. I think I'm catching a cold again. I swear I just get over one and it's like another one slaps me in the face. Curse you, Merry Christmas, or whatever. Though I will say these fittings are pretty solid. I don't know if that means they're super glued or what. I have run into that where I thought a blade was solid and then, you know, you finally pop it open, everything's super glued together. That's one of my worries. The ray skin on the inside, the cell structure, which is the pebbling of the skin, is very tiny, where on the higo, the pebbling is actually pretty big. The Suba on this is more decorative. I would say it's copper. Maybe even a resin cast, but it looks pretty, right? I like the variance between these two right here. This has got a more detailed thing, but I will say it's kind of sharp. It's already almost cut me twice with these little edges. But your fingers aren't gonna go there. It's for decorative purpose. Now, I used the blade from the Ryan to cut its box. While I'm here, I'm gonna test this if this is sharp. Not really. I mean, I'm running my finger along this on my nail. It's a little sharp, but it's not like the higo, which the higo is pretty much shown out of the box. It can cut things like a badass. I would have to sharpen this one, I think. And I really don't want to because I think that would ruin the Damascus, but I'm not sure. I don't know if this black colored steel means it's chemically treated, and if so, that means even if I grind it down, I won't see any, you know, that color metal. It'll always be that way. But if it's just outer electrolysis treated, which is like a nitride or something like that, it'll just grind off and you'll have that color. Either way, the Damascus makes it pretty. I would say the weight balance is a big key between $10 of these. This sword is more for decorative purposes, I would say. I tried swinging it around. It's more frontal heavy. It makes me want to have it at an angle a little more. It's like you would stand like this. Instead of being like the higo, which would have the blade straight up, this wants to curve down just a little more, which is just an adaptive style to the sword. But it makes it a lot harder to bring it up, which would be harder to do a repeat strike. But for doing a heavy blow, I would say the Damascus blade wins, even though both have a fuller for light weight. I've swung both swords together, seeing, you know, at the same time, one in my left, one in my right. The higo actually seems to prefer my left-handed style, which is just weird. I didn't get that when I first done it, but, you know, my test swings with it, but it works right-handed, but I feel like you naturally use it better left-handed. I'm ambidextrous, so it's not a big deal. So, comparing the two blades, the Ryan sword seems to come in close in a lot of ways, and then in some ways not meet the standard, I would say. It's not ready out of the box. You couldn't use this to cut things right off the bat. It's not sharp. But decorative purpose wise, it's awesome. Cheness and Ronin Katana both are sharp out of the box, so I give kudos to those companies. Those are ready to go. Well, that's our comparison of the two $200 blades. DemonSword out.